Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Thank you for watching journeyforyou.com channel again. In this video, I would like to share with you about renewable energy, in particular solar photovoltaic system or solar PV system. This renewable energy source is another step after, for me, after we have practiced sustainable energy management system, and then we have optimized to the maximum our energy efficiency opportunities from practices, okay, in systematic way by adopting energy management system standard, and then we have utilized all our energy saving measures from what we have identified, in the management system. And then what next? With that, we have adopted the practice through the systematic approach. Instead, we have implemented energy management system, and then we get the saving. And then on top of that, we have explored on the investment on energy efficient technologies. So the next steps, once we have the practices and the technologies of energy efficiency, next is we have to consider, or we should consider renewable energy source. That's the step of the applying energy efficiency in the practices or in the organizations. So solar photovoltaic system or solar PV system is one of the sensible options, especially in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we have abundance of solar energy supply because we are at the equator, near to the equator. But so we have to make use of that. However, we have to bear in mind we must start with the energy efficient practices first, and then we explore into the alternative source of energy such as solar PV system. Then we are going to harness the energy from the natural resource, renewable energy, which is sun, the sun. Okay, so having energy from renewable energy, either solar or other sources such as biomass and so on, it doesn't mean that we can waste energy. Therefore, I always believe that renewable energy is another steps after we have explored all the potential of have to maximize all the potential from the energy efficiency through systematic approach, and also from the adoption of the technologies through investment and so on. Okay, and this in this video, my presentation slides actually is from what I presented with my group in my first semester of my Master in Energy Management program. So we presented this slide, as a part of our assignment. Four of us in the group. So thank you to Huda, thank you to Amalina, and thank you to Azim, for contributing. I think we scored quite good mark in this particular presentations. I think over 90% out of 100% of this particular assignment. So that's why I like to share with you this slide. Okay, and then thank you very much as well to Seda Malaysia, Encik Ilham in particular, for sharing with me some of the information that always been presented to the public. This is all public information for the awareness program on the solar PV, in particular net energy metering program. Okay, so now let's have a look at the slide. Okay, let's share the slide, and then I start my sharing in this particular video. Net energy metering in Malaysia, or NEM in Malaysia. This is the outline of the presentation. I will share with you about the overview of the RE sectors and programs in Malaysia, and followed by the mechanism of NEM. Okay, and then we share with you the benefits of implementing NEMs at the residential, commercial, and also industrial buildings, and then barriers that hinder the successful implementation of the solar PV and NEM in Malaysia. And then I share with you what are the strategies and plans that have been implemented by the government to encourage the use of NEM, and finally some recommendation. The only addition to this slide compared to what we presented last time is I just added, okay, the NEM 3.0, which is when we presented this one, it wasn't there yet. It was up to NEM 2.0. So I just added the last slide about what actually the difference from the previous net energy metering program, or NEM, with the NEM 3.0, which was launched in somewhere in December 2020. In general, if you look at our Malaysia's energy policy, if you look at here, we have all this. I just showed you, this is all the policies related to energy in Malaysia, what we have now from the 1974 until 2020. If you look here, we have from the Petroleum Development Act, National Energy Policy. This is unique about this National Energy Policy 1979. In this policy, we have three objectives. The first one, to ensure reliable and adequate supply of energy. And then second one, the efficient utilization of energy resource. And finally, the third objective under National Energy Policy 1979 is the to protect the environment. Okay, this is something unique. You have that statement mentioned as an objective in the National Energy Policy 1979. However, I think it's fair to say over the years since that policy was reduced, the focus is always on the supply of energy. So we have basically my thinking, okay, my opinion on that. By until now, we have achieved almost all objectives in when it comes to the objective number one of the National Energy Policy 1979, which is to ensure adequate and reliable supply for the country. If you look at further, 1981 to 006, okay, 75, okay, 1979, 70, 80, and then 80, we have that. In 1980, we have the National Depletion Policy. What is this? This is the policy we control the harvesting of our petroleum products. We limit our extraction in terms of barrel per day to certain numbers. I think it's about between 700 to 800 barrel per day. Okay, compared to OPEX, they are extracting about almost 20 million over barrel per day. So that's why I think in Malaysia 1980 we have the National Depletion Policy. We control the extraction of the petrol renewable resources. Therefore, we are still having our resource until now, even though it's not enough for our country anymore. And then we have the 5 fuel policy. This is the time where we start to embark on the renewable energy. In year 2000, we introduced the 5 fuel policy, adding out of 4 policies before. We have the gas, petroleum, coal, okay, and others. Now and then we have when we enter into the 5 fuel, added the renewable energy. However, it just started, but not so much something big happening that time. Okay, and then in 2006 we got another one, National Biofuel Policy. Okay, we introduced the biofuel in our energy supply. Okay, for the transport sector in particular. And then in 2009, okay, we introduced the National Green Tech Policy. We try to become much greener. Okay, and next one we have in 2010, we have, this is something new, we have the RE policy or National Renewable Energy Policy in 2010, come together with the Renewable Energy Act, okay, and also come together with the feed-in tariff, feed-in tariff. And then this is what I think 2010, when we introduced the feed-in tariff, and same time they formed the SEDA Malaysia, Sustainable Energy Development Authority in Malaysia. Okay, that was I think that was really the milestone, the big milestone that sparked the development of the renewable energy industry, because the industry have his own ecosystem. That they got their own act, okay, they got their own complete program, okay, to support the renewable energy in Malaysia. Because before that, renewable energy was something very there. It has been there, but not so much. For example, we have the small renewable energy projects. Okay, for years, before that, it wasn't successful because of the. It's not so much because it wasn't holistic enough. Okay, not holistic enough. There's some parties, there's some party very keen. There's some other party, it's not keen. So therefore, it resulted in become not business. In terms of business, it wasn't feasible for people to invest because of the tariff rates, offered to supply the energy generated from the SREPs, small renewable energy program, that time is too low. But I think since the 2010, and then when the enactment of the Renewable Energy Act come together with the SEDA Act, and then come together with the feed-in tariff, okay, that was the spark. It has sparked the growth of renewable energy in Malaysia. And then in 2010 to 2011, 2015, we have the 10 Malaysia Plan, where we introduced the new energy policy. We try to transform our energy sector into different way. They call it last time, if I'm not mistaken, they call it Malaysia Electricity Supply Industry 1.0, where they try to make the industry become more liberalized. Okay, and then in 11 Malaysia Plan, there are some there are some initiative on the energy efficiency. If you look at all these policies, from 1974 until 2020, all these policies are only focusing on supply of energy. Means that, but my point here, we still until now we still haven't got the we have that's why we are very good in supplying our energy sources, because we have all the policies in place and all the ecosystem in place, but we still don't have the energy efficiency policy. Okay, means that how we supposed to use our energy, from the user side, from the industrial sector, from the commercial building sector, from the residential sector, how we supposed to use our energy. We don't have that such policy yet. Therefore, if you look at my previous video, there's the issue as well. Okay, so this is overall about the Malaysia energy policy. So means that we still need the energy efficiency policy to make sure we are very good in supplying. We also need to very efficient in utilizing as a user. This is what has been outlined, okay, under the National Renewable Energy, okay, Action Plan. Okay, action plan. Okay, this is the what have last time. Okay, action plan. Basically, this stated in the objectives. Objective under National Renewable Energy Program Action Plan. Okay, basically to increase the RE contribution to the national mix. Okay, and then to facilitate the growth of the industry, means that need to have the ecosystem, and then to ensure, okay, a reasonable RE generation cost. RE is always, even though the supply of any source is from the natural resources, but the technology of RE still very much expensive. Therefore, there's also a factor. Therefore, in one of these objectives here, to ensure the reasonable RE generation cost. And then same time, by doing RE, we can also conserve the environment for the future generation, and also enhance the awareness of the role and importance of RE to everyone in the country. If you look at Malaysia's primary production supply, production by types, if you look here, we are still depending so much on the fossil fuel, mainly fossil, and fossil fuel is depleting and not renewable. As for now, our utilization of the renewable energy source is still very, very low. If you look here from the Malaysia Energy Statistics Handbook 2019, if you look here, our renewable energy sources very much, I would say negligible. Okay, if you look here, we have 60% natural gas, data from 2017. Okay, crude oil 29%, hydropower, 5.5%, big hydro, coal and coke, about 1.7. Okay, and others. Okay, and others, all basically. But again, if you look at solar, then number 7, merely 0.1% out of total, okay, energy production from into 2019. Okay, and then how about our performance of renewable energy in Malaysia? If you look here, until 2016, if you look here, this is somehow the chart here, the tables showing to you, okay, what are the current, the 2016, okay, what are the licensed capacity generation of RE project in Peninsular Malaysia. If you look here, still for example, and if you look at the left side, okay, biomass, biogas, mineral hydro, solar, okay, it's just about 360 gigawatt hour in terms of generations. Okay, and then this is from Peninsula and Sabah. And Sabah is only about 243 from renewable energy source. This one is from 2016. Okay, if you look here, the overall performance, okay, of the RE such as biomass, biogas, and solar, mini hydro, relatively small to the total generation mix in Malaysia as at 2016. Still not much. Therefore, I think in early 2019, okay, since the new government took over in 2018, okay, in 2019, okay, there's a big and bold and very brave move. Where suddenly they want to achieve the targets of 20% renewable energy in the capacity mix by 2025. It's very tall order, but it's possible. It's possible. It started with the government. Okay, this is very bold move taken by the government in early 2019. The one of the biggest factor is that they make the selling power of the to the utility in terms of the dispense cost become 1-to-1 instead of the much lower selling to the grid last time. If you look here, okay, how the government wanted to achieve 20% RE in the electricity generation capacity mix by 2025. The first one, they will enhance the net energy metering program or NEM program and solar leasing, and then they go big in the large scale solar programs. Okay, and then also implementing non-solar RE project as well. Okay, there are not only in Malaysia, solar source not just solar photovoltaics. We have hydro, mini hydro. We have biomass. We have biogas as well. Okay, same times government will offer the facilitation programs through the SEDA Malaysia. And of course, this will enable, government will try to enable much greater access to the RE sources, not just, for example, for feed-in tariff, only for industrial player. Okay, very quite mainly for industrial player, very little from the domestic user, for example, during the feed-in tariff programs. But however, it was a start. It's really we have started something. So in general, these are some of the current renewable energy programs in Malaysia, or RE program in Malaysia. If you look here, we have look at the chart here, the diagram here. We have the self-consumption. Okay, means that company can generate power, can get the license from energy commissions. Okay, and then they can use for their own consumption. In this kind of selco, they call it self-consumption or selco. For selco, they are not allowed to sell the power to electricity to the grid. Means that purely for own consumption, and IST can give them the license. They have to apply. Okay, this one they call selfco, totally for self-consumption. So they can get the license direct from energy commissions. And second programs, okay, is the what we are going to talk about much more later, which is the net energy metering program. Okay, so in this net energy metering program, energy produced from the installed solar PV system will be first consumed by the user. Okay, and then any excess will be exported to the grid, or in particular to the TNB on one-to-one offset basis. Means that if they buy certain kilowatt hour per cents per kilowatt hour, and they're selling also at the same amount. Okay, somehow. Okay, and then but however, okay, this one only for the Peninsular Malaysia only through Tenaga Nasional or TNB. The third program is the large scale solar or LSS. This is through the competitive open tender bidding, okay, buying energy commercial. This is for large scale. This is for, we call it solar farm, big scale. Okay, this one not for the normal. This is for business. This is for business. Okay, for business. Therefore, this I think this one create a huge, has created huge of response from not only Malaysian player, they also international player as well. Of course, they have to meet all the requirement. Okay, this is very good as well. And then the first one, okay, the fourth one, basically feed-in tariff. Feed-in tariff, it was the first initiative that sparked the whole thing. It started way back in 2012. Okay, somewhere at the end of 2012, where the feed-in tariff, where whoever getting the license, they call it, license from SEDA Malaysia, they can sell back this one purely for the injecting to the grid. I mean that they generate the power from the renewable energy sources such as solar PV, biogas, biomass, or small hydro, and then they are going to be paid at premium rates. Premium rates. I mean that they are selling it to the local, to the supply authorities such as Tenaga Nasional, okay, at higher rates. Okay, so where these higher rates, where the government getting this money to pay them? Because this is quite common, being applied by many countries when they started their solar PV program. So this fund coming from, they call it feed-in tariff, they call it levy. If you look at your city bill, okay, initially it was charged 1%. So whoever using more than 3 million kilowatt hour in the consumption of energy, okay, they will charge initially 1.1%. And then this money goes to they call it, RE fund, administered by SEDA Malaysia. Okay, and then this money, okay, will be used to pay this whoever getting the license of the feed-in tariff. This is how, means that everyone is contributing to this. Okay, whoever using more than 300 kilowatt hour per month, they will charge 1.1%. Now they are at 1.6%, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, 1.6%. So if you look at your bill, they call it, they call it kumpulan tenaga boleh baharu, or something like that. TBB, fund. So this money actually paid by everyone. Every user using more than 300 kilowatt per month, they are contributing to this fund. And this fund actually paying the premium rate. This is one way to encourage, because renewable energy, very expensive in terms of technology. So it's no business. So it's not business. It's no profit from that. Okay, and then yeah, so it cannot attract investors. This is common applied by the many countries. However, feed-in tariff is not forever. Okay, I think government has achieved as for now. Now is we are at 2021. All right, so almost 10 years. Right? Almost 10 years. Okay, so I think we have. That's why now after the feed-in tariff, we come out with the next program such as the Selco, NEM, and even large-scale solar. Okay, feed-in tariff is no more now. Okay, if there is someone, it's all about the one that being giving license last time. Maybe they are not the project did not proceed. Therefore, they have to reopen the quota. Okay, and until they got a quota, they cannot. It's not open. It's not totally open. Depending on how much fund collected from the fund from the levy. Okay, they got levy. Okay, and so this is the overall program. This that I mentioned here 4 programs, and then how you can you participate? Okay, when it comes to the how to make it happen, what a mode of purchase, how can you get this one? So therefore, they got a process, several methods, several mechanism on how you can generate using generate energy from solar PV, through solar PV. The first one, of course, through the cash or capex from company cash. They have money, they can invest in the solar projects. So they can apply any of these programs. Okay, Selco, NEM, or okay. Last time or even feed-in tariff as well. Okay, one of just procurement. Okay, normal procurement, and then you can get a bank loan. There are so many banks now in Malaysia, and they're very keen also to fund renewable energy projects. Okay, and then you can be so you have to pay whatever at the agreed interest and also at the loan period. Okay, and then we have another program, solar power purchase agreement. Okay, or solar PPA. So the PPA. So how this one works? This is basically you can have investors. Okay, investors. Okay, come to your facility, and then they can put everything the solar system at their cost. They are investing at your facility. Okay, so what happened next? Okay, they generate energy from the solar PV system for electricity, and then they can sell to you at cheaper price compared to the normal rate you pay to Tenaga Nasional. Okay, normally this one up to 20 years. Means that you don't have to spend any money, all done by the investor. Okay, and then you sign PPA with them, and then they can sell. Okay, they can sell the power to you, the electricity for you at cheaper rate compared to the lower rate compared to the one you purchase from the grid from the Tenaga Nasional. Okay, of course, there is some benefit. It means that in this situation, you cannot get 100% supply from your own solar. So partly you are buying from the utility, partly you're buying from the one that invested at your facility. So actually, you can save costs here. You can save costs because you will pay some portion of your energy consumption at the lower tariff, lower rates. Okay, another one is the true leasing. This true leasing program is just like you buy a car. All right? You borrow money from the bank. The bank will, and then bank pay the money to the car supplier, and then you pay the loan to the bank. Okay, simple as that. So in this solar leasing, you borrow money from the bank. Okay, and then bank will, and then you can engage the projects. All right, and then you pay to the bank at the agreed loan period, at the agreed interest rate, and all that. Okay, so the method to pay, for this solar PPA or the solar leasings, okay, either you pay direct to the solar investor. Okay, you pay direct to the solar investor. Okay, or okay, normally for the solar PPA, okay, you pay direct to the solar investor because they charge you. Okay, you pay them according to the agreed rate. Okay, of course lower rate than the utility. And then the second one, okay, you can pay direct to TNB via the SARE, okay, supply agreement for renewable energy, okay, and then TLB will make the payment, okay, to the solar investor. There are two ways of payment if using either solar leasing or solar PPA. Okay, another one, okay, so this is so for more information, okay, you can go to SEDA. Okay, SEDA Malaysia, you can get all the information. All right, so this is overall about the renewable energy programs in Malaysia. So you have to decide which one you want to start to look into. Okay, depending on what kind of user you are, you try to optimize or you try to explore the opportunity from this program, which is very good. Okay, means that after you practice energy efficiency through system and also through technologies, next is the consider the renewable energy source as your alternate energy source, for your own use. So for the net energy metering program, okay, it was started in 2016, okay, for under eligible Malaysia plan, allocation a quota of 500 megawatt up to 2020, and then however, okay, until 2018, only 30 megawatt capacity was utilized. Even the target was 500 megawatt. Why is that? Because of the so-called, they call it, the offset price, the offset price means that if anyone putting up the solar PV system, okay, for example, the amount they can sell to the TNB much lower than what they are paying. Okay, so it's not one to one. Therefore, in 2019, okay, after the government changed in that I think very good move, very bold and very brave move, they become one to one. Means that if they buy, so for example, 30 cents, 35 cents per kilowatt hour, and they can sell the extra as well. Okay, go back to the grid at similar. So it makes the investment much more feasible, much more attractive. Therefore, in 4 January 2019, okay, the program adopted a true net energy metering concept. We allow the excess solar PV generated from the energy exported back to the grid at one-to-one offset basis. Okay, means that every 1 kilowatt hour exported to the grid will be offset against the 1 kilowatt hour consumed from the grid. Instead of last time at the display cost much lower, they can pump back to the grid, whatever they can pump back to the grid. Okay, and then after that, the take up much more improved. Okay, therefore, by 2019, the total is about 120 megawatt. Okay, until 2020 alone, okay, total 2019 120. Okay, in 2020 150 as of September during the assignment was done. Okay, so if you look here, 120 plus 150, you plus another 30 megawatt. Okay, how much is that? Will be 180. Okay, 180 or 300 over megawatt. Within after the launching of the one-to-one, okay, from 2019. And this is some statistic, okay, by August 2020. Okay, if you look here, domestic, who take up this net energy metering programs, domestic, commercial, industrial, agriculture. If you look here, okay, it's about by 2020, August 2020, almost 80 over the 80% at 82%, which is very good. Okay, so solar photovoltaics or RE, it must be economically feasible for private sector to come, okay, or the user to come. Means that the investment much more feasible. If not, just like before that, it doesn't move. Okay, but you have to be thankful, okay, for the bold move taken by government in 2019. Okay, and how the mechanism of net energy metering all about. If you look here, this is the somehow the overall concept of net energy metering. Okay, there are three parties involved. We have the regulator, which is the Energy Commission. Okay, we have the implementing agency, which is SEDA Malaysia, and then we got the distribution licensee. In Peninsula is the Tenaga Nasional or TNB, and we have the NEM participants. Either they are domestic users, commercial building users, agriculture users, or industry users. So this is the conditions. So means that you cannot get everything. You cannot get 100% supply from the NEM. Okay. So this is the condition for 12 kilowatt for single phase system, or you have 72 kilowatt for three phase system. Okay. So for medium and high voltage consumers, you can only get up to 75% of your maximum demand. Okay, for medium and high voltage consumers, you can only generate up to 75% of your MD. Okay, and then for the first one, domestics, okay, 12 kilowatt, okay, for single system maximum, okay, and then if you three phase system, 72 kilowatt. Okay, for commercial building, from medium voltage, high voltage consumer, only up to 75% of your MD. And then for industrial and agriculture, for low voltage consumers, okay, you can get only up to 60% of use, or 60% of use for direct meter, or 60% of CT rating. Okay, it's not, means that you cannot get everything. You can, so government set the limits. I think should be okay. This one quite common. Okay, so you cannot get everything 100% from the if you want to get a net energy metering, unless you want to generate solar of your own at your own cost. You're not talking about this net energy metering. That's one fair. You can get 100%. Means that you are not talking about net energy metering program. Okay. So this is the eligibility and installation type. Okay, you must be for now for the NEM only for the TNB consumers. Okay, these are conditions. You must be a TNB consumers, and then no outstanding bill or case of meter tampering. Okay, and then only from the solar PV. Is that net energy metering only for solar PV? Okay, and then for other type of energy renewable energy sources such as biogas or biomass or mini hydro, it's case to case basis based on the decision by the energy commission. So what kind of type of installation? You can use either rooftop. Okay, rooftop is that your building integrated photovoltaic system, or you can use your own garage or car park or similar building. Okay, for other system or ground mounted system, you can be allowed, but you have to apply to SEDA Malaysia, and they want me to approve it on a case to case basis. And then benefits. I think this one, I don't need to explain that much because there's so many benefits. Okay, the first one, of course, we have got less dependent on the supply from the national grid, which mainly using the fossil fuel. And then that will result in prolong the fuel reserve for Malaysia. Okay, because we are sourcing the energy from the greener and renewable sources. And then, of course, if you are a household user or businesses, it will lower your electricity cost. It's good for you as well. Okay, actually for businesses, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic time now. Okay, I was told by some of my friends, some of the one that involved in the solar PV business. Okay, the demand from the household markets, increased since the MCO enforced, in 2020. Okay, at the same time, okay, the third one, the benefit, we delay the build of new power plant to meet our future electricity demand. Is that so? If we have more from renewable energy source such as solar, okay, through this solar PV program, net energy metering program or NEM program, so we can delay the needs to build new power plant. Okay, and then the user will have more flexibility. Okay, to get their own electricity supply. Now, last time it wasn't that easy. A lot of bureaucracy, a lot of problems, But now you can either opt, if you want to get that energy metering, you can get partly from the utility. You can generate for your own from the solar. Okay, or if you want to get the from the grid, you can generate on your own. Okay, through your own investment. And finally, okay, of course, it contributes to the reduction of the GHG emission to the environment, and it can help into the climate change mitigation. And then what are the challenges? The challenges. So these are the challenges. Okay, challenges, lack of awareness. Okay, especially for those who can afford. So this is what is very interesting. I must say this, and this is my opinion. Solar PV is not for all because solar PV technology is still relatively very expensive. So I don't think that that's why even for if you are your consumption is low or you are come from the B40 or this is not really directly from the low income group. Okay, so this is the one that who use energy a lot. Let's say your bill above 300 ringgit per month and all that. So that's why this one, why the challenge now, lack awareness among Malaysians, especially among who can afford, for solar PV at their home, at their own cost. Okay, that's why. Because if they can buy a bungalow at 500,000, 1 million, 3 million, why not they put a solar PV system, which costs maybe about 50,000, even level 100,000. Okay, and then another one, the challenge that the technology cost is still relatively expensive for to be used by mass, for mass consumption by ordinary Malaysians. I think if the way forward, okay, I think for talking about the low income group, I think government can have some program, special program for them, so that they can also enjoy the solar PV, the renewable energy source for the generation as well. However, now the price getting lower compared to 20 years ago. I think the price of solar PV system much cheaper now. Okay, much cheaper. It used to be about almost 30 over 1,000, per kilowatt peak. Now, as low as, if I'm not mistaken, as low as 3,000 to 4,000 per kilowatt peak. Okay, and then another challenge that it's not easy to convince. Okay, decision makers to embark on solar. But I think this trend has changed now. Okay, this thing has changed now because of the current economic climate. Somehow it changed now. Therefore now they have so solar PV system. Especially in RE, has been very proven and easy to see. All right. So now initially it was hard to convince decision maker to embark into this, but now more and more people going into that. And then another one challenge that the processes, the process to get the tax exemption, especially for businesses, the process to get the tax exemptions, has take too much time. However, I think government is doing their very best now to improve this. And finally, not many local banks, are funding any projects. They are happy to funding all the big projects, LSS project and all that. But I think you still need to educate more the banks so that they can, give more, allocation for the funding of NEM project by the local banks. Okay, another one. Okay, for government buildings. Okay, this is another challenges. I was told that some rental, because if private sector want to use the government facilities, right, for the solar PV system, the rental is they have some rental costs. Instead of the building haven't never been used for nothing, never used for anything. So when the moment the investor want to come, to utilize that, suddenly they got the rental cost. This is something government have to look into. Okay, so that so this is government not supposed to think so much about business, right? Okay, I know that government has to generate money, but somehow this is look at it from the bigger picture. Okay, and then another one, COVID-19, because of the cash flow issue in order, because business are affected, that somehow affected the interest of the company toward the NEM as well. Okay, and then if the project is a long term, more than 7 years, you have to go to the, you call it UCAS, unit kerjasama awan swasta, and this process, I can tell you, take years. Okay, so this is another way where government need to improve on this. And then finally, some technical issue as well. Okay, for example, the fault current value. Okay, sometimes the value of the current, fault current, is too high to inject directly the supply from the solar PV to the grid. Okay, so they have some limits. Okay, because there's some limits, imposed by the TNB. Okay, and also if you add a cost, if they want to install the fault current limiter, if needed. So this one added some cost as well. These are all the challenges. Okay, another challenges. All right, so another one. If you look at the challenges again, it's more to at the much be a higher level. All right, so some issue of the for state government, the land, because sometimes they want to embark on solar in general. Okay, state government land issue and all that. So this is something I think government have to look into. All right, and then some restrictions, on the bidders. Okay, not allowed to, so it will limit, so it will limit. So when you have some restriction on investment, it will limit the government from getting capable and experienced RE player, to be more to do more to the increase of the RE generations. Another one is standard and regulations. This is something ongoing. I believe this is something ongoing. Okay, so this is you should be some kind of standardization of the approaches, requirement, especially when it involves states, government, and all that. Okay, so it should be standardized, across all state and Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah as well. Okay, and then whatever that under the purview of the federal government in terms of electricity supply. So I think standards, regulation is something that something can be looked into. All right, these are all the challenges. Okay, how? Okay, basically what is really the plan? Okay, how strategies? What kind of strategy? Okay, so this is the process of application of the net energy metering project. So if you look here, okay. If above 72 kilowatt, okay, there are three parties here: NEM contractor, Sedar Malaysia, ST, and also TNB. If you look here, if the more than 72 kilowatt, they must conduct the net energy metering, assessment study. Okay, have to submit the report to TNB. Okay, and then after that they apply the NEM. Okay, net energy metering, and then SEDA will look into and then look into the approval. Okay, this is the time duration. Okay, and start to order procurement and all that. Okay, so the whole thing. Okay, this is somehow some indication. Okay, about the times, expected time in the processing of the NIM for the NIM application process. We look here. Okay, from the study 4 to 7 weeks, and then application by SEDA about 2 weeks. Okay, quite fast. Okay, and then so have to follow the guidelines. Okay, up to 12 months. Okay, you see the some indication of the process involved in the NIM in for to get the NIM and geometry for it. Even SEDA provide the we have it, you can go to SEDA website. Okay, SEDA website, you can get the this calculator. For you, if you have a house, you need to know how much you can somehow estimated, generation of your for solar that you can use, you can utilize at your house or even your building. You go to SEDA website. They have prepared the NIM calculator. If you look here, the target group, okay, ada domestics, okay, building or industrial sector, and indicate your bill per month roughly. Okay, so this is so they will calculate for you. They give you some idea how much you can generate solar from your facility, and also how much would it cost you roughly. Some indication. Very good. I think this is very good. You can go to the website of SEDA Malaysia, and then you can calculate this directly, and then have some idea. And see example here. The bill now is about 3,000 over. Okay, 3,000 over, and then example here. Okay, and then from the calculator, okay, after if you put solar PV system, you get this savings about 1,300 roughly. Okay, your bill lower from 3,000 over to 2,000 over, so you're saving about 1.3 1,300, and then this is capacity that you can generate, and then payback within almost 6 years, and this is how much you need to invest roughly. But this pricing just indication. Okay, so normally I think the price should be much lower now. Okay, and then we calculate for you here how much area for your rooftop required. Okay, CO2 emission and all this. Okay, very good. This is something that very useful and very good for the education process as well. So you can estimate how much you can do it by yourself. Go to the calculator, SEDA website. Okay. And then even in the SEDA website, they prepared the who can you go to to get the service. SEDA only SEDA can authorize the PV service providers. So this service provider, this is how the government control the quality of the installation. Okay, so you can go to SEDA website. You can get the list of the PV service providers, and also here they put this PV investors as well, in terms of banks, all that. Okay, so you can go here. But because if you apply, you must get the whoever install the solar PV system, you must use the one that's registered with SEDA Malaysia. If not, you have trouble. You must follow the guide. You must use the registered providers by SEDA Malaysia. So you can go to the website. Okay, this is some of the other program as well. Okay, so this is a part of it just now. I mentioned earlier NEM, right? Now this is another issue here. This is another way of getting it, either PPA or the Selco. Okay, this is another. I think more detail from the overall program that I showed you earlier. So either you can get cash, bank loan, okay, solar PPA, solar leasing. This is the method of payment. Okay. And then another one, PPA. This is how PPA works. Okay. All right. You sign the solar PPA, okay, with the investor. Okay. And then this process, okay, and then you get it, and then you can you pay, okay, based on the kilowatt hour purchase from the system. Okay. This is for solar PPA. Means that you pay at the agreed rate. Okay. For the solar leasing, you pay to the whoever funding your projects, during the period. After that will be yours. I think for PPA, the term much longer. Okay, if you're not mistaken, up to 20 years. Because why? Because it's 100% investment from the investor. Okay, but bear in mind, but for solar leasing, okay, you pay according to the agreed loan period. Okay, after the loan period, okay, all be yours, and you have to maintain the system by your own. But for solar PPA, all maintenance, okay, will be by the whoever involved, the investor, okay, throughout the over 20 years of the PPA. But for solar leasing, let's say your loan is 5 years, or normally 5 years or 7 years. After that, all be handed over to you. You have to maintain by yourself. Okay, have to look in, therefore you have to look into the operational cost as well of that, and when you go for solar leasing as well, factor the cost after after the loan is ended, leasing ended. And this you call it supply agreement for RE, renewable energy or SARE. Okay, it's another one. Okay, another one. So this is where TMB, they have their own subsidiary. Okay, they look into this. Okay, so this is another party that get involved in the solar PV system, solar PV projects. You can look into all the options here. Okay. Government also provides some kind of funding, okay, or in terms of loan. Okay, we have the GTFS, Green Tech Financing Scheme, okay, and then we have also the tax exemption, tax allowance. They call it GITA, Green Investment Tax Allowance, and also Green Income Tax Exemption. Okay, you can go to MIDA website. Okay, you can get all the details and you can apply for this. So it will make your investment much more attractive. You get the tax exemption. You also can get a special loan, okay, through the GTFS. Just like to show you some photos, okay, on an NEM project in Malaysia. For example, this is the library in Selangor. Okay, very nice. Okay, 500 about just slightly above 500 kilowatt peak. Okay, at the library, and then a factory. Okay, the factory in Malaysia, in Shah Alam, very nice. Okay, and then another factory in Melaka. All right, in Melaka, 19. This one just now. 2.5 megawatt, okay, huge. And then about 19 megawatt, bigger, okay, all right. And this one house, okay, 3.1 kilowatt peak for terrace house, very nice. Yeah, you can consider for the domestic users, especially now during the pandemic, I guess many of you, the electricity cost higher because everyone at home, okay, for example, myself as well. Okay, I think I'm thinking seriously about it because initially my bill just above 100 ringgit, but now go beyond 200 ringgit per month already. So I'm considering solar PV now as one of the options, actually with the NEM 3.0 launch, it's good news. I will consider this, very much because my bill now since PKP, okay, over 200 ringgit per month already. All right. Okay. So this is what actually recommended, what measures, government can consider to boost more, okay, of the policies in solar power in Malaysia. All right. So you look here, of course, government has answered this, extend the NEM program from 11 Malaysia Plan, now extended to become NEM 3.0 now. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much to the government. And then same time, okay, is to ensure efficient use of energy practices among the user, which having the supply from the solar PV as well. So that this is one way, for example, if government has, if they want to get some kind of tax exemption, so you must meet certain requirement. They must also practice energy efficiency. If not, they can get from solar, but they cannot get some kind of incentive. Because for me, if we don't have, we are not using efficiently, regardless of whatever source that we're using for our energy source, okay, so we are still wasting energy. Because the whole idea is that, if you look at solar PV itself, maybe I think the source of energy is green, okay, is natural, but the process of all the PV to be produced, right, all that is not totally green, right? So similar to me, okay. And then the next one, okay, government building should have more, all this solar PV, okay, should have, because lead by example. I think if this is the issue just now I mentioned, so should be no renting at all. Okay, there should be no issue of even any private sector wanted to put solar PV in the facility of government. Why not let it? So of course agree on certain condition, but not, I don't think is renting is to be the solution. Okay, so to look into other kind of arrangement where both parties agree. Because government have their own revenue, so they got their own revenue. So let the things happen. Let the private sector play their role. That's where make the more government building we have their own solar PV without they spending their money. Then another one, okay, what can be done is more awareness, especially on the banks about NEM, so that more people can come on board. Okay, this one can be done through the association. Okay, so this is the conclusion from the assignment. Okay, so this is what we discussed. Okay, take up RE projects continue to increase in Malaysia. Very good. Okay, now we have this. MIDA also has uh, indicated that a lot of from the solar PV from renewable energy programs, a lot of investment coming as well. Okay, I think we are in Malaysia. We have among the biggest solar PV manufacturer in Malaysia now. Okay, and then we are moving towards this as we are moving towards the developed nation. Okay, now, because more developed and developing nation are moving towards the RE sources. So I think we are on the right track. Okay, large scale solar is proven to be strong and potential. Strong potential to contribute to RE bigger in bigger way to Malaysia, as based on the whatever being showed, the data showed by the SEDA and also the Commission. Okay, and then the RE action plan, need to be designed to be more convergent, okay, and forward-looking RE policy. Okay, I think government is quite somehow yeah, I think sensitive to that as well. So I think things happening, and then targeting. We can use this RE sources as a part of the national energy supply to secure more supply for energy source as well. Okay, and then the overall, targets to 20% by 2025 is very bold, but it's possible. Okay, that's our conclusion. Okay, and then the new governments is, but now I don't know. Okay, now new government, but during the time, when they launched, the target was set was a new government from the previous government. Now also new government. Okay, so I think it's quite good that the government has set a clear plan on RE, so that we have something to look into, and then okay, again, government to provide and continue to provide strong support for RE generations, especially for solar PV. Okay, so this is all what we have presented. Okay, during for the assignment. So I would like to add further. Okay, this is the information on the new net energy metering 3.0 or NEM 3.0. It was launched. We were announced somewhere December 2020. Okay, so we have a new quota now. This is very good news. Okay, actually, quota for the domestic, they call it NIM Rakyat, 100 megawatt. They also provide a NIM government for government kerajaan, for government building, bangun kerajaan, 100 megawatt. Okay, and also commercial industrial sector, 300 megawatt. Okay, so the mechanism, okay, they maintain the domestic 1-to-1 for 12 months. Okay, 1-to-1. That the buying and selling is, as 1-to-1 for 12 months, similar to government building. Okay, 1-to-1. But, okay, commercial building, SECO, plus 1 month, only 1 month. Okay, how much they offer? 3 years for 3 years, offset based on the current tariff. Okay, for the NIM Rakyat and NIM Government. For private sector, system marginal price. Okay, how long? Okay, how long? 10 years. Okay, 10 years for self-consumption. Similar self-consumption or for self-consumption. Capacity requirement, hard, the limits. Okay, the limit is single phase 4 kilowatt peak, 4 kilowatt. Okay, and then 3 phase 10. Okay, I think reduced from last time. Okay, and then for the government building, 1 megawatt for one account. Okay, for buildings and industrial facility, offsets 1 megawatt. Okay, and 5 up to 5 megawatt. Okay, and then the requirement qualification, you have the domestic accounts, government, department or agencies, and also account non-domestic account. That's all. Okay, so I hope my sharing enlighten you further about renewable energy, especially about net energy metering in Malaysia. Okay, I think this is something good. Renewable energy is the way forward. I read one article, one out of 10, the future application in terms of green everything, will be renewable energy source, especially solar PV. Solar PV will be the way forward. It's the trend, because the way I look at it, the cost of installing solar PV now getting lesser and lesser, lower and lower. So this is something very good. I think subsequently, what I can see, the way forward, the use of more people will come into this will come to this solar PV in Malaysia, because the tariff will be increased most likely. All right, most likely. And then the thing, the awareness, and also the feeling of responsibility, to contribute to the much greener future is also more and more now. I think if you can get more and more people who can afford, putting up the solar PV at their house, okay? People who can afford, so why don't, why not? So let's do our part. Okay. So I hope the sharing is useful for you. Okay. And then we can, any comment or query, you can always, check the, check the number, and also the email that I put at the bottom of the screen. With that, thank you very much. I hope we can see you again next video. Again, I must thank my group member, Huda, Amarina, and also Azim. Okay. Also thanks to the lecturer, okay, Dr. Barudin, who guided us throughout one semester of this particular course. Okay. With that, thank you very much. Okay. And then I hope we can see you again in the next video. Okay. All right. So now one more day will be Hari Raya. You watch the video. Okay. Selamat Hari Raya. Maaf zahir batin. Okay. Stay safe. We are going to celebrate Hari Raya during the MCO again. Okay. So stay happy. Don't be stressful. Okay. Okay. So just enjoy it, and then stay safe. Okay. Stay safe and stay energy efficient as well. All right.